Liana grows up in a modest home where light is rationed, both literally and figuratively. She is the shadow against the brighter canvas of her younger sister, Serena, whose fairer complexion is constantly praised by their parents, Mr. and Mrs. Rao. Liana, 10 years old, sits on a worn sofa, drawing blueprints of imaginary worlds. "Liana," her mother sighs, arranging Serena's hair for a photograph, "can't you stand closer to the window? The flash never catches your features well." The emotional rejection is constant. School playgrounds where dark jokes are common, neighbors who offer unsolicited advice on brightening creams, and most painfully, the silent disappointment in her parents' eyes. Liana learns early that the world judges the veneer, not the foundation. One day, Liana brings home a school art prize, a certificate for a deeply shadowed, complex charcoal drawing. Her father dismisses it. "Why draw so dark? The world needs brightness, Liana. Find something lighter." Liana decides then that if the outside world values superficial light, she will dedicate her life to mastering the inner light. She begins sketching rooms that use deep contrast, textured shadows, and natural elements to evoke feeling, not just spectacle. At 18, Liana takes a scholarship to study architecture and interior design, fleeing the toxic comparison. She works 3 jobs, but her focus is unwavering. Design must be a reflection of the client's inner truth, not society's expectations of beauty. Her university final project, a conceptual sanctuary of self, is panned by a panel of judges who call it too somber and lacking commercial vibrancy. But one visiting professor pulls her aside. "You use shadow like poetry, Liana. Don't chase trends, chase authenticity." She opens a tiny, independent studio named Contrast and Context. Her early work is radical, using deep indigo walls to enhance the light of a single copper lamp, employing raw, dark wood to ground a space built of glass. Her reputation spreads slowly among those who seek genuine atmosphere over Instagrammable trends. One rainy afternoon, a discreet black sedan pulls up outside her tiny studio. A man in an immaculate suit hands Liana an elaborate, crested card. It reads, "Office of His Royal Highness, Prince Adrian of Eldoria." The man explains that the prince, the heir to a historic, influential kingdom known for its traditional, opulent architecture, has been tasked with renovating the royal family's private residence, the Summer Palace. "The prince has rejected every established firm," the aide says, looking around Liana's rough-hewn, deeply shadowed studio. "He found your online manifesto, The Geometry of the Soul, intriguing. He believes you understand the difference between decoration and legacy." Liana accepts the project, knowing this is the one chance to prove her philosophy on the world's grandest stage. The Summer Palace is vast and overwhelmingly grand. Liana is given the key to the prince's private wing, a space filled with heavy brocades, gilded moldings, and endless, echoing halls. It is beautiful but sterile. She first meets Prince Adrian. He is tall, effortlessly elegant, and surprisingly weary. He avoids talking about the design for the first few days, instead observing Liana work. "Everyone tells me to use more gold leaf," he says one afternoon, watching her sand an antique oak floor to reveal the natural grain. "What do you see, Liana, when you look at this wing?" Liana doesn't hesitate. "I see a man who has lived his whole life in a beautiful, glittering cage. I see a space that shouts about your status but whispers nothing about yourself. I see a desperate need for silence and substance." Adrian smiles, a genuine, relieved expression Liana has never seen on a royal. "Begin with silence, Liana. Make it real." Their collaboration becomes an intense, quiet form of intimacy. Adrian comes daily to watch her progress. Liana uses rich, deep mahogany panels, unbleached linen, and massive panels of slate and stone. She replaces fussy antique lamps with simple, functional light sources that spotlight texture. Liana's design philosophy mirrors her personal experience. She uses deep, dark tones not to hide, but to make the essential light sources. A single reading nook, a hand-stitched tapestry, profoundly visible. Adrian starts confiding in her. He talks about the crushing expectation of his role, the constant societal scrutiny, and the pressure to marry a princess based purely on lineage and superficial appearance. "They want me to marry a gilded cage," he admits, watching Liana place an asymmetrical cluster of simple river stones on a mantelpiece. But you, Liana, you show me that the most precious things are the ones you have to work to find. Liana, used to being unseen, finds herself being seen for the first time by the world's most visible man. Adrian sees the fierce intellect, the unwavering ethical spine, and the gentle soul beneath the skin the world had judged. The rising action peaks with the arrival of Queen Mother Valeriana. The Queen is a dazzling, perfectly preserved monument of tradition, obsessed with lineage and public optics. She sweeps into Adrian's wing, her face freezing as she takes in the rich, unadorned walls. Her eyes fall on Liana, who is currently covered in plaster dust. "Who is this person, Adrian? And what is this cave?" the Queen demands, her voice cutting. Adrian proudly defends the design, explaining the emotional depth and architectural honesty. The Queen is unmoved. "I am not speaking of the walls, Adrian," she hisses, drawing Adrian aside. "I am speaking of the designer, a commoner, a woman of her complexion. You cannot be seen to elevate such an unsophisticated aesthetic. It sends the wrong message to our alliances. You will hire a new firm, Adrian, immediately." Adrian refuses, defending Liana's talent fiercely. The Queen's hostility toward Liana is palpable, a pure, visceral disgust that she dares to stand so close to the throne. Liana, devastated by the Queen's rejection, packs up to leave, believing her presence is causing irreparable harm. Adrian finds her in her studio late at night. Adrian pulls her away from her bags. "You think I could let you walk away? You think I could go back to the gilded cage now that you've shown me what silence sounds like?" He takes her hands, his touch warm and absolute. "The day I met you, Liana, was the first day I felt authentic light in my life. Every firm before you designed for the Queen. You designed for me. You are my truth," he proposes, not with a public spectacle, but with the quiet promise of his soul. "I want you to be my wife, Liana, not for the kingdom, but for the geometry of our soul." Liana accepts, her long-suppressed walls of loneliness crumbling. They decide to face the Queen together. The Queen Mother, informed of the secret engagement, is consumed by rage. She views Liana as a pollutant, threatening centuries of royal purity. She knows she cannot publicly stop Adrian. She decides to remove Liana from his life entirely. She bribes Adrian's trusted royal driver, instructing him to ensure the braking system fails on the prince's official car during a long-distance drive to a remote estate. A drive Adrian insisted Liana accompany him on. Liana and Adrian are together in the armored, black limousine, heading into the mountains. They are laughing, planning their life, a life where Adrian would eventually abdicate if the Queen made their marriage impossible. Adrian takes Liana's hand, squeezing it. "I don't care about the crown, Liana. I only care about the space you've built around us." Liana smiles, leaning her head on his shoulder. "It's the most authentic light I've ever felt." The driver, pale and sweating, pushes the accelerator. He tries to signal a problem, but it's too late. The brake warning flashes red. The car is speeding toward a massive, blind curve overlooking a sheer drop. The driver shouts a warning. Adrian immediately understands the malice. He pulls Liana close, shielding her body. In the final, terrifying moment of impact, as the car careers off the road and crashes violently into the cliff face, Adrian looks deeply into Liana's eyes. Hand in hand, they speak their final, synchronized declaration. "We will be together, if not in this world, then in the next world." Liana survives. She is found, severely injured but alive, shielded by Adrian's body. Adrian, however, is gone. The subsequent investigation reveals the brake tampering and the Queen Mother's involvement. The driver, overcome by guilt, confesses everything. The public scandal is immense. The royal court, witnessing the depths of the Queen's malice and the proof of her son's profound love for a woman she despised, turns against her. She suffers a massive, debilitating stroke brought on by the shock and guilt, slipping into a deep coma. She remains in this vegetative state for 10 years, a silent, fading monument to her own destructive pride, before finally dying. Liana spends a year in physical and emotional recovery. She is not bitter. She is sustained by Adrian's love and the truth they discovered together. She returns to her work, now funded by a massive inheritance left to her by Adrian, who had secretly updated his will. Her first major project is to complete the summer palace wing. She finishes the design exactly as they planned. Quiet, honest, and filled with deep, resonant shadows that celebrate the simple, strong light of their love. She creates a small, dedicated library in Adrian's honor, ensuring his philosophical rejection of superficiality becomes part of the kingdom's legacy. Liana never marries. She becomes the most sought-after designer in the world, renowned not for her exotic origins or her royal connection, but for her unique ability to create spaces of profound, authentic truth. Her greatest masterpiece is the new wing of the Summer Palace, a space of deep indigo and unbleached linen, where the light hits the raw oak floor just so. It is a monument to the simple fact that the purest beauty and the most lasting love are always found beneath the surface, in the geometry of the soul. The kingdom, forever changed by Adrian's sacrifice and Liana's integrity, finally learns to value substance over